hit over the head with glass beer bottles, 2x4s, cast iron skillets. Like, it's a miracle that I'm sitting here.
In a 2Works For You exclusive, a gut-churning story of survival. A little girl taken from school when she was only 12, not seen again by her family for nearly 20 years, held captive, abused, and raped daily. Well, right now, her accused captor sits in a Green Country jail cell.
And tonight, we sit down with Rosalind McGinnis, who shares her story of how she escaped a real-life nightmare. Rosalind McGinnis was a happy little girl.
I wanted to grow up, I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I wanted to teach violin.
Living in Springfield, Missouri, McGinnis says her stepfather, Henri Piet, first raped her just days after her 10th birthday.
It's like life stopped the moment that you're abused. It's just like imprinted in your mind.
McGinnis says the sexual abuse happened regularly. Piet moved the family often. Then, in Wagner County, Oklahoma, when McGinnis was 12, he arranged to take her from school. Her family didn't see her again. The police report from 1997 stating she was last seen getting into a small gray pickup. There was a search, but there was no trace.
And the next thing I know is that my mother's not there, and I'm by myself with this man.
In a hotel, it was clear to McGinnis Piet had been planning this. He dyed her hair, changed their names. He called her Stephanie. He went by Bill. The sexual abuse continued. Piet moved Rosalind to Mexico within a few months of taking her. He reportedly drank all the time and was violent. She says he beat her daily.
I have about 21 scars on top of my head, and I'm not talking like little ones. I'm talking about ones like that. Like, it's a miracle that I'm sitting here today.
She says he raped her just as often. Her first baby at age 15, then another and another. 9 babies in all. 19 years later, and still in Mexico, McGinnis eventually met the woman who would change her life.
She's an American lady from California, and she's married to a guy from England.
McGinnis and the woman had small encounters.
Because they owned a restaurant that they had opened up down by the beach where I also sold ice cream.
And then one day,
Henry had been drinking like always, and she brought a birthday cake, and he had walked in the other room, and she's like, I know there's something wrong. If you can ever get away, I will help you.
A month later, while Piet was passed out, McGinnis gathered the kids.
I went to her house where she lived. I knew where she lived, and I knocked on her door.
You have those extra bags?
The woman's name is Lisa. Her husband is Ian. We aren't sharing their last name or location for their safety. Lisa didn't know how bad it was until McGinnis started talking.
She finally turned to me and she goes, look, I have to tell you something. Stephanie isn't my real name. And Bill isn't his real name. I said, who are you? And she said, well, he was my stepfather. His name is Henri Piet. My real name is Rosalind McGinnis. And he molested me starting at 10. And he stole me from school when I was 12. And I went, oh my God. And we got online, and there was this poster for missing children. And there she was, looking almost identical to where she was, but when she was 12. She turned to me and she goes, I've been waiting 20 years for somebody to do the math and figure out that a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old shouldn't have babies like this.
We knew we needed to do something to help them, but the question was how, what, why, and when.
Lisa called the Center for Missing and Exploited Children in the United States. They, along with the help of a whole lot of other people, helped get the children back into the U.S. and to relatives in Missouri. An Oklahoma man accused of multiple disturbing crimes for years was in court today. A year after her escape, authorities arrested Piet. He's currently sitting in the Wagner County Jail awaiting a competency hearing. Piet faces multiple charges, including child abduction and rape. And currently, Rosalind McGinnis is living in the Kansas City area with her children. She wasn't comfortable talking about them, though, saying they have their own stories to tell if they ever choose to do so. There is so much to this story, though, including how you can help the family. You can find all of that information on our website, kjrh.com.